Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anhlan Nguyen. It is a tremendous honor for me to be here today. And I would like to thank the Vietnamese Googler Network, especially Cindy O and Tiffany, for this wonderful opportunity. I love to see the Google setting and everything. My goodness, you go to a talk, you even have free boba tea, and then you have a free book. By the way, the book is written by Dr. Clemens. He's one of my trainers. He trained me to become a certified emotional intelligence coach. And he is the president of the Society of Emotional Intelligence, an international organization that I really admire and I'm part of. Okay, so that's why its name is EQ for Everyone. Because I'm writing my book, but I have not done yet. So I asked, Dr. Hinh, can you help me with the book? And he said, okay. So that's where the book is coming from. Okay, so before we start, I just want to acknowledge, I know that everybody is so busy. How many of you that bombarded with multiple demands with life, work, office, home, personal, boyfriend, girlfriend, children, raise your hand. I think everybody does, right? So the fact that you are here today in this room, it spoke a lot about your intention. And for those of you who logged in from the live stream, I just want to acknowledge your intention. You are here for a reason. We all in here for today, in the next hour, for a reason. We want to explore the beauty of emotional intelligence. So with that, I just want to ask you to take a deep breath and appreciate your presence and appreciate everybody else's presence in this room. Thank you for being here. So let's start. So what I'm going to discuss in the next hour is going to be some introduction, what emotional intelligence is, relationship between emotions and thinking, how do you make decisions, and I will, if we have some time, there will be some powerful stories that it will blow your mind. And my key goals for this talk is that when you get out of this room, you have something that, you have some strategies that is applicable for your life, wherever it is work, it is life, or it is something that bothered you recently, or maybe just the aspiration to become the best you can be. So sound like a fair assumption? Are you with me? All right. Okay. So the first assignment is very easy. So now I would like to ask you like this. Imagine I will ask you a couple of things to work with me, because it's easy to just have listening and talk. But it would be much better if all of you engage. If you have questions, please pick the note and we can have the QA at the end. But really, I would like to have some engagement from the audience. So imagine you have $86,400 to be in your bank account every day. So starting of the day, you got $86,400 to spend. But you have to spend it throughout the day, because at the end of the day, it will be on gone. Okay? So the assignment is take about 20 seconds thinking about what you're going to spend. Now, you cannot put it in saving bank, okay? You cannot invest. You've got to spend. So what you're going to use $86,400 to spend. Remember, at the end of the day, you lose them all, okay? So I'll give you about 20 seconds, and then you can pair up between the two or the three. Just share within another 30 seconds. Make sense? Okay, so start now. Remember, you cannot save it. You cannot invest. You've got to spend. You can buy a house. You can, but every day you got this. Every day you got it. Sounds so good, right? $86,400. All right. Time's up. So how does it feel? Exciting, right? You got $86,400 to spend, right? And sometimes it's overwhelming. Oh my goodness, I have that much money, but you are not allowed to invest. So you've got to spend them all. And that is overwhelming. Now, what if I'm telling you, each of us have that money every day? Somebody know what it is? What? Time. It is your life. Each of us have 86,400 seconds to spend every day. As soon as you get up and go out of the bed and run for the day, start your days. And every second is a unit of time that if you don't use it, guess what? At the end of the day, you lose them all, right? So we have not thought about that. How many people have thought about that? Raise your hand. Wonderful. If you have thought about that, that's wonderful. Because then that's the awareness of the abundance you have, the time you have. So what does it look like? This is a beautiful river. It's our life. I like to use some metaphor. So our life is just like a river. It has a starting point when you get into this world. How can you get into this world and become a human being? Because of our parents, right? What is the chance for you to become a human being? Anybody guess? Like 1 out of what? 1 million? 2 million? 400 trillion. Even less than the chance to be hit by the lightning. So the fact that you exist here as a human being is a miracle. So actually you have the choice to become the best life you have. And each day you got 86,400 seconds to spend. And the thing is, you can let it go. Doesn't matter, whatever comes. But you can also intentionally live every second of your life the way you want it. So the river is just like that. It starts from some point, and it always ends where? In the ocean. That is when we leave this world. Because our life is limited, right? It has a start, it will have an end. The thing is that we don't know when it's going to end. But we know for sure it will end, right? So how do you, within the time that you exist on this earth, that you can create the best experience it possibly can? And you have the power to do that. What can help you to do that? I'm talking about emotional intelligence. And that's why we need to know. So let me take a pause. How many of you have done something called life goal? Life goals. Setting the goals for the life. Like this is your life. What do you envision at the end of your life? What kind of person you become? What kind of family, what kind of people you want to be surrounded? What kind of legacy, contribution that you want to leave this world? How many of you have thought about that? Awesome. So that's 2 people, 3. Awesome. Now, have you actually put it out as a goal and every week look at it to see how far you make progress? Okay, so here is something that I would suggest you to do. Okay, each of us, let's imagine this is a quadrant, okay? And this is your visual, future self. So imagine 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you don't know how many years from now, right? But what kind of person you want to become? What kind of person you want to become? Write it down. If there are 3 words you want to be remembered as a person to your loved one, what would they be? Put some thinking about that and put it down. Because when you put down the intention, that is where you start living your life the way you want it. Okay? So this is yourself, your future self. Second is your social. And social here, it can be your family, It can be your company. Like Google is a wonderful company to be here. Everybody agree? I guess. So how come there's only one raise your hand? I think everybody has to raise your hand. The fact that they allow you, they give this talk for you, for your personal development. They have boba tea. They have even the book from Dr. Hanks for you. That is quite a treat. I already fell in love with it the moment I stepped into this company. So kudos for Google. So, so that's the environment surrounded you by, the people in your lives. What kind of people you want to show up? Write it down. Again, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So in order to become this person, okay, and surrounded by this person, and for those of you who don't have a spouse yet, how many of you still kind of looking? And, still single. It's very important, right? You're looking for a spouse. That is important. You write it down. But in order to attract these people, into your life, what kind of skill you need to build? You have to identify, okay, I want to be this person. I want to attract these people. Then what kind of skills that I need in order to become this person? So that is the skill. And again, it starts with intention. If you put some reflection, put some thought about it, and nobody look like anybody else. Each of us is unique, right? You have unique gifts, you have unique talents, and you have unique needs. That's what it is. And the last one is the contribution. Because at the end of the day, when we use up all of our life, this is where you want to leave a legacy. And it can be your family, your children, your grandchildren, or it can be something beautiful that you want to leave this world with. So think about this. This is your life goal. And remember, if you don't plan for it, you can let life come to you, but then you lose the chance to live intentionally. And you will hear me talk a lot about living with intention and attention, because that's what emotional intelligence is all about. And what I can share with you under the skill, one of the skill sets that will help you to achieve the goal is EI, emotional intelligence. And that's why the topic today is what? Emotional intelligence at work, right? It helps key to live a healthier. Why is healthier? Because your body is important. Without the body, you cannot do anything, right? So healthier is important. And what else? Happier. And then more productive. So that's the topic of today's talk. So again, I will ask you to do another imagination. Each of us have this EI house in each of you. I use a house because it's close to our heart. Each of us has a home, right? So imagining your body, your mind, your heart, your head, your brain, and even your soul is all in this EI house. And what I would like to ask you to explore this house with me is seeing how wonderful it is and how you can turn on the emotional intelligence in order to help you to live a much better life. And my goal is at the end of this talk, you come out, you have some key takeaway that you can implement in your life. Sounds good? Okay, so what is it? How many of you can give me some definition of emotional intelligence? Anyone? Yes.
Emotional intelligence is understanding how you feel, how other people feel, and what people's kind of beliefs and drivers are behind the actions.
Awesome. What's your name?
Laura.
Give Laura a round of applause. Yes. So she already understands the concept. Actually, I just have a picture that has a heart and the head. Because actually, like Laura said, it is the ability to understand first. We have to understand our own emotion. And then understand other people's emotion and how you can use that understanding to use your emotion to the best knowledge, because sometimes our emotion run us instead of us running the emotion. And the key of intelligence is being what? Smart. Being smart about your own emotion, but you cannot be smart if you don't know what it is, right? So the first step would be understanding yourself, and then reach out, understanding others. And from that, you build the relationship, because at the end of the day, it's all about relationship. Like, can you get a job done within yourself only? Sometimes you can, but most of the project, how many of you have to work with teams? Raise your hand. I guess everybody, right? Because unless you do something really independent, but you still need somebody to support you to work. So relationships is key, and emotional intelligence cover all of that. So I like this picture because it shows a tip of iceberg. And on the top is called IQ. And you can see the thing above the sea level is the one that we see. And can you imagine, we only see about 1%. 99% of what happened in a human being are not seen. You cannot see it. You cannot feel it. You cannot hear it. You cannot taste, but it's there. You see the whole area down there? It's a whole EQ down there. That is where the emotions, the thinkings, the minds. And what we normally make decision and analyze the situation is only the tip of iceberg. That is when we use our analytical thinking. And by the way, EQ is stand for emotional quotient. So it's just like versus the IQ. It's a measurement of emotional intelligence. Okay. So when you see this, I like this picture because it really depicts how a person have an emotion and react to things, because it comes from your past experience. Like, how many of you have some setback in the past or some past experience that really affect you in reacting in some circumstances? Raise your hand. I think everybody does, right? Each of us has our own trigger. And as soon as it triggers, reacting. And there is something called emotional hijacking that we will talk about it later. So that part you don't see. And you don't see doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. But once we understand each person has that big vast of things that we don't know, we tend not to judge people too much. Because sometimes when we judge people, we only base on that 1% on the top, and it's actually not the reality. It's not true, right? So according to Daniel Goleman, so actually emotional intelligence has been and exists for more than a couple of decades, but it's only very famous when Daniel Goleman wrote the book about emotional intelligence in 1995. I like his model because it's simple. Basically, it talk about two different competencies. The personal competency is about the self-awareness, and I think that's so key. Like, each of us, we have emotion. Human being has emotion. We cannot living without emotion, right? But sometimes we're not aware. We're not aware until it becomes uncontrollable. How many of you feel your blood pressure go up? When you become so angry, you feel it, but you only feel it when it goes to the top. And how many of you had been in that mode before? Raise your hand. Yes, there's a certain thing trigger, right? And so the self-awareness is key. It's one of the key competency that we talk about. And then from that self-awareness, when you learn about your own emotion, then you learn how to control and manage your emotion. And that is your personal competency. The second competency talk is about social competency. And for social competency, it's talking about empathetic. Like, when you look at the person around you, you can, now again, verbal is only like the words that they use when they talk to you is only about 7%. People only perceive about 7% or remember 7% of the words, but they see your gesture, the non-verbal cue. And you have to pay attention to really see that. Because sometimes you just talk and your mind is so busy thinking about your things So you forgot to look at the other person. So the other person might send some signal. She confused, but you don't look at them that close. You don't see, you keep talking. And finally the other person completely lost. Have you encountered some case like that? And then if you practice attention, you practice emotional intelligence, then you will be able to tune in with the other person. And from that, you will be able to pick up the energy, pick up the signal, and you can slow down. You understand your own emotion, and then you build the rapport with the person you talk to. So it's a lot about communication, learning, listening, active listening, and that is a social awareness, and then come to relationship management. Because then when you build relationship, you understand yourself, understand other, relationship will come. So this is a statistic that they put the survey, and you can tell top performers, 90% of top performers had high EQ. And this is EQ can be measured, very independently. Like there's a EQI 2.0 assessment tool that has been valid around the world. And that is what I'm certified for. And that's what Dr. Hank Clemens wrote about in the EQ for Everyone book. So that assessment, you can come in and you do assessment, and they give you the assessments from anywhere from 50 to 120. And 90% of top performers had high EQ. Now, the good news is that you can develop it. You can work diligently. And some of the key takeaway today, you can take it and work on it, and your EQ will be improved. And again, low performer is only 20% that have high EQ. So there's a strong correlation between successful people, successful performers, and emotional intelligence. So what is emotion? Can somebody tell me some kind of emotion really stand out? Anyone? Love. Okay, love. That's very empowering, right? What else? Anger. Anger is a really true feeling, don't you think? How many of you have been in anger before? Raise your hand. I think everybody, right? Unless you are a saint. There should be something that trigger you, If your child or your husband, your wife, or your loved one, you never know. So these describe all the emotion. And there are two types of emotion. Empowering emotion are those that really make you uplifting. It brings you up. It makes you feel joyful, and it makes your brain having the solutions and finding out how to solve problems. And those that love, and you can see, and I like this model from Pruchik because he has the level from outside would be, it's kind of light, and intensive level raise up when it go into the middle. And you can see here, you can see that initially anger starts with annoyance. Okay, this person doesn't answer my email. I send an email to her and she ignored me. She doesn't. So it caused some annoyance. And then 2 weeks later, that annoyance escalated to anger. Oh my goodness, she did not respect me. How come she didn't respond to my email at all, right? And then finally you met that person. Oh, I forgot to read your email. And then you escalate to rage. Oh my goodness, So that story that escalate in your mind, it increases your emotion to rage. And guess what? When you are in a rage or anger mode, it's called emotional hijacking. And when you are in that mode, the front cortex doesn't work anymore. It takes over. And the brain has a way to handle it. And that makes when you actually have some kind of behaviors or reactions that you feel so sorry before, because that you just react. And at that point, you completely lost your cool. How many of you have experienced that? Raise your hand. I'm guilty at charge. Especially, I'm a very bad-tempered person. So when I was a teenager, I lost my cool all the time. And I do not have the blessing to have the training on emotional intelligence. I didn't know about this until I studied for my doctoral thesis. And it's something that you can learn, but you need some awareness. So this is the brain, okay? And if you look into the brain, You can see that there's an emotion right in the middle. Right in the middle, you see that emotion portion. And the thinking is what we call the front cortex. And according to the neurologists, scientists, basically it's all the thinking is taken care in the front cortex. But our emotion is in that emotion area, it's called amygdala. And emotional hijacking is happened is when it take over. So the signal coming in, the emotion trigger is very fast. So you don't have time to think. And when you start feeling the blood pressure coming up and all that thing, that is when you lose your cool. So the key of emotional intelligence is that you are aware. You are aware at the phase when you start getting annoyed, right? So that you can in check, I am angry right now. So what kind of emotion I can do to really turn it off, or at least take a couple of deep breaths and then release it so that you anchor not in the emotion, but you anchor somewhere else. Okay, so we'll do some technique later, but that is the awareness right now that I want to take. So this is our beautiful brain. Okay, I actually stealing this slide from Dr. Tenzi. How many of you have watched the Super Brain by CBS, PBS actually? There's a series called Super Brain, Dr. Tenzi and Deepak Chopra, that truly wonderful. And they talk about how our brain works. So this is our wonderful brain. And there's a part called automatic. That is the part where they control your beating of the heart, all the functional of the body. Like you're not aware, but your body is wonderful. It is a universe of all the cells. And they have all of the all of the mechanism when you eat something in, the enzyme is working and translate into energy, the whole 9 yards. But you don't tell your heart just beat it, right? It beat it for you. So that is the automatic. And you have what they call subconscious mind. That is when you make the decision, you just do it, right? But that subconscious mind, it can be trained by the free choice. The free choice is that you eat, you eat, you smoke, and you know that smoking bad for your health, but you still smoke because that is my free choice and all of that. So that is the free choice. And the key of emotional intelligence is that you have the power to make the choice that is best for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about emotion and energy. There's a strong correlation between emotion and energy. I would like to have 2 volunteers come up here. Who? Quick. Okay, yeah, please come up. These 2 ladies. What's your name? Please come up right here. I just want to show you the relationship between emotion and energy. So one of you can stand up here and just, have your hands like this, okay? And one of you is in the back, you go up here. And you will try to put her down like this. And you will try at best not to let her to put her down because you're strong, right? So, so of course, so you put like this and try to put her down. Okay, that's good. So right now, hold on a second. All right. So now you close your eye. And what's your name?
My name is Tu Hương.
Tu Hương. So you close your eyes and imagine the best memory you have. Beautiful memory, happy and joyful. And you smile and you leave it, right? And then Vân Ánh try to push down. Let's do it now. Try hard. Okay, that's good. All right, so you try really hard. And she's so strong. Because now she's so strong. Okay, and they're not friends, okay? They don't know each other. Okay, now let's do another one. You do it again. And now this time you close your eye. You think about some memory that you're really shameful. Or you are not proud of yourself. It's just so sad. Or it just really, you not want to think, but you go back there and think about the moment when you feel shameful. And do it again. You see? You see the difference? So what do you feel when you feel no energy, right? Awesome. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause for Tu Hương and Vân Ánh. You see that's powerful? So whenever you think that emotion doesn't have any relationship with energy, it has a lot. So imagine if you are how many of you have deadline projects? Everybody has, right? How come for those of you who do not raise your hands, you never have a deadline at Google? I don't believe it. Everybody has a deadline, right? So when the deadline is coming, the stress level is coming up, all the emotion you have, if you don't get it in check, guess what it does to your energy? It brings you down. It brings you down. So be careful what kind of emotion, that thought, what kind of thoughts that you have in your mind, because it is your mind. And we not take control of it, it takes control of you. All right? So this is another, I think it's a quadrant that really helpful to remember. Whenever you acting, you remember this quadrant. It is a project called the Energy Project by Tony Swart. Okay, and here it talked about the x-axis is about your emotion. So when you are in the positive emotion, is on the right hand side. On the left hand side is the negative emotion, and up is the energy, and down is the energy low level. So where do you think you want to be? High positive, right? Because at that you are at your best. Your energy is so high. But most of the time, we are where? We are either high negative, which is stress. Sometimes stress is okay because you have fear. You have fear to meet the deadline, right? So it gives you some motivation. So that's good. Stress is good to a certain level. But if you stay there for a while, guess what happens? If you stay at high and negative for a while, it brings you down, which is burnout. How many of you have experienced the low negative burnout? Raise your hand. All the time, right? Like if we not control our thinking, our emotions, you go there. And when, guess what? When you hear what productivity you have, very little, if not none, right? And look at the high performers, the people who perform really successfully in your organization. Look at them. They are always either in what? High positive. But because they are aware of their emotion, they are aware of their energy. They know when they need to go down here, low positive, so that they can recharge. Because guess what? Your body, if you do like 24 hours, like you have some project, you skip all the lunch, you skip all the dinner, you skip everything, you skip sleeping, and guess what? Your body will complain. How many of you have done that? Like skip sleeping because of some projects are coming up, right? And you guess that, oh, I have to finish it. But guess what? If you are here, low and negative energy, you won't be able to finish it on time. So you make sure you take good care, and sleeping hygiene is always important. How many of you can put in to get at least 6 hours of sleep? Raise your hand. Great. So most of you take good care of yourself. For me, I did not. So I am a kind of the type of high achiever. And as Cindy said, like I have so many, I work like 80 hours a week. So I have so many things. And guess what? I got sleep apnea. Like after 13 years doing that, I sleep only like 4 hours. I have so much, 4 hours a day. So after I slept when I was driving, and it's so dangerous. And that when I realized I need to fix myself. And remember, every problem, can be fixed if you fix yourself. You fix yourself first before, then the problem is no longer a problem. So remember that, okay? So remember this quadrant, and the goal of emotional intelligence is to keep you at high positive, or at least if not, then high negative for a while. Right? For a while only, and then you try to take some relax. So you go here. Z factor means that you take sleep or take good care of your body, relax, no conflict, no negative emotion, and then go back there in high positive. So that's the plan for people with high emotional intelligence. And what I would like to tell you is that remember the focus that we talk about, the 86,400 seconds per day that we got, right? Do you know that our brain, how many bits of information coming in per second? Can anyone tell? Million or thousand? How many bits per second? Any guess? A million? In millions, yes. You're so good to 11 million bits. 11 million bits of information coming to your brain per second. But our brain is limited. It cannot handle 11 million bits. Guess how many bits we can handle? Any guess? One? No, one is too little. We can handle more than one. Any guess? 30, 20, 40 to 50. So every second, remember, every second, your brain constantly making choice to pick only 40 or 50 bits out of 11 million. And so the focus is so important. So let's do this exercise. This is very easy. Okay, so I'm asking, I give you 20 seconds. Look around, look for anything that's red. Look for anything that is red. Look around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, now close your eye. Close your eye. And try to remember things that is green. Can you see it? Okay, open your eyes. You see? Because you're looking for the red. So when instead of looking for green, you don't see it. Even the green is right in front of you, you don't see it. Why? Because of that limitation. You only have 40 to 50 bits out of what? 11 million bits. So that is all about the focus. And the focus you have always have choice. But remember, that's sub-second. You don't actually consciously make the choice, right? You subconsciously, like the automatic, remember the automatic brain part, it makes for you. But you know how it makes decision? It's based on your thoughts. If your thoughts are mostly negative, it will pick for you, and you only see the problems. You don't see the good thing. You see only the thing that cause you problems. And that is where all the tragedy happen in our life. All the problem happen in our life because of that 40 and 50 bits. It's very precious, only 40 and 50 bits. How can you condition your brain, condition your mind, and you can do that so that you focus the 40, 50 bits so that you're always in that high negative, high emotion zone, because that is where you are your best, right? But how do you do that? Like how, this is Mr. Nelson Mandela. I'll give him as an example. You know him? He's a leader from South Africa, and he was in prison for 27 years. So when he got out of prison, people asked, oh, Mr. Mandela, how come you can make peace with the person that caused you so much suffer? They imprisoned you for 27 years. And then he asked, what suffer? What suffer? Like, well, you were in prison for 27 years. Isn't that suffering? He said, no, it's not suffering. It is, I call preparation. Why? Because I only have two outcomes. The first outcome, I die. Because, I die in the prison. But my death will spark a revolution to achieve the democracy in South Africa. And I achieve my life goal. So that is good for me. But if I don't die, and I got out of the prison, I become a leader, then I got 27 years to prepare to become a leader, and he did. When he come out, he become a great leader for South Africa. You see, so the way he looked at that 27 years is a gift, not a burden. And you have that choice in each of us. How can we activate the choice that best serves you? And remember, the 27 in prison is still the same. And people got imprisoned that much, they die. He not, because he looked at it differently. And you can do it too. The second story I want to share with you is, how many of you know about Superman? I guess everybody, right? He's very famous. How many of you know that he got some accident? Mr. Christopher Reeve is the play in the Superman. At the top of his career, he got an accident that broke his neck, okay? So he became quadriplegic. Quadriplegic, what does it mean? It means that you cannot move. You cannot do anything with your body. You're just stuck. And the only thing that he could do is just, he made quite a few surgeries so he could talk, but he talked very low voice. And guess what? With that condition, a person that lost everything, he came from a Superman, handsome, can do all the super everything, and then coming down to the quadriplegic, you cannot do anything. How can he cope with this? I truly admire him. After he got into the accident, he wrote 2 books. And guess what? With that, he lived another 10 years in that quadriplegic mode. He wrote 2 books. He became international speaker because he still had the voice to inspire other people. Given the adversity, you still can, cope with it. And what he did was he also created 3 movies. Now, he couldn't be the actor, but he involved in other roles. And what's so special about him, he founded 2 foundations for the spinal cord injury victims and their families. So, and he raised about 65 million for those foundations. It's amazing to see a human being. Now, if you have a problem you face, you will ask yourself, okay, compared with a quadriplegic person like Christopher Reeve, am I happier? Am I more blessed? And you can say, yeah, I'm more blessed. So with that future, I only have 40 and 50 bits of information. How can I make my life is much better? Because I change the way I look at the problems. And you compare with him, you can see you much more blessed. And remember that living with intention. So you have the good intention. And again, how do you build that 40 bits? Because that is subconscious. That is the habit you need to build, because otherwise you can't. So one of the habits is practice mindfulness, which is in order to, you have intention to be good, but of course life throws you all kinds of stuff, right? You need to pay attention to practice mindfulness. So there is a very good way to really calm your mind. And I found this practice very helpful. So if you want, can you please stand up? And for the people on the live stream, you can stand up at your desk if you want, but just stand up. Okay, and we practice breathing. And remember, whenever you are in a very tough situation, you see all the blood coming up, like you can't stand it anymore. Learn this breathing technique and anchor in yourself so that you can find. So when you close your eyes, all right, and when you breathe in, this is a brief meditation, but it just takes you 1 minute. So you say, breathing in, I'm calm and peaceful. So you breathe very deep into and put that into your belly, and you say that, breathing in, I'm calm and peaceful. And then when you're breathing out, you say, breathing out, I'm smiling. You smile on yourself. And then you said, I'm anchoring on the present moment, the magnificent now. And you do that a couple of times, just breathing in very closely, and then breathing out, you smile and anchor to the present moment, the magnificent now. Then you open your eyes. And how long does it take? It's only like less than 1 minute, right? You can do that for 3 minutes. Okay, you can sit down. So how do you feel when you do that? Relax, right? So your blood pressure will go down a little bit, right? You take a couple of breaths. And if your emotion is really high, then what you can do is do it a little bit more. But that breathing technique is never fail. So practice mindfulness. Somebody said the best way to capture moment, to pay attention. So living, you have the intention to focus on the good and attention. Attention to what? Attention to your own emotion. Because every single moment, something triggers, something you see, remember that 40 and 50 bits because you not intentionally put it right. It will pick up the bad things. Now, our brain is wired that way. Our brain is wired to look for problems. And it's okay to look for problems, but we don't want our focus because your 40 and 50 bits is very precious. If all of those 40, 50 bits always look for problems, you end up seeing all the problems, right? But if you say to yourself, I am the solution. So always there are 2 types of people. The people who look, who focus on what they have and the people who focus on what they do not have. All right? That's a two mindset different. You focus on what you have and you feel blessed. Or you focus on what you don't have. Oh my gosh, I don't have all of that. I feel so sad, right? So those are the two mindset. Or you focus on what you can control, which is within my domain of responsibility. These are the things I can do. And you focus on what you cannot control, like the government, like somebody, like the weather, the traffic. All of that you cannot control. But you focus on that, guess what? You will condition your mind to look for the problem. Or you focus on the present moment or future, how you will solve the problem. Or you focus on past problems, all the past experience that you really hang up and you, oh my goodness, I remember, oh, this is so bad, So that is the choice. And you have the choice to make between being focused in what you have, focus on the solution, focus on the present moment or the future, and focus on what you can control. And that's what Christopher Reeve did. Like he became quadriplegic. He didn't say all day long, remember all the things he did as a Superman, and then feel miserable for himself and do nothing. That's one choice. What the choice he made is that, okay, now I'm quadriplegic. What else can I do? Brain. My brain still works. And voice, my voice still works. So he worked with those that he has. He worked with what he can control. And he created wonderful legacy before he left this world. And you can do that too. You can do that too. So practice mindfulness, which is pay attention. So you have heard me talk about living with what? Intention, right? And attention. Those are key things. So this is our EI's house. This is the whole gist of today's presentation. And the first is know yourself, okay? And remember, as a human being, you have multiple parts. And some of the parts might not be very good. They might be the sadness, the anger, the jealousy, the part that try to protect you. Oh, don't try this, it will hurt you, protect her, all of that. But there's a part that is really good that you can anchor. That is the part that you say, I have the solution for everything. I will solve this problem. I will focus, I will solve it. I will find a way. And you anchor on that part because that will be the best part for you to live your life wonderfully. Okay, so remember, know yourself, be the best you can be. And how? You practice mindfulness. Remember, so those 3 minutes moment, you can help you to anchor on your best, on your calm, the peace that calm, and regular reflection. How do you pay attention? You have to understand your emotion. How many of you have some kind of journaling? Like write down something throughout the day. Okay, journaling is a very helpful. And for some of you, if you currently have you occupied by some negative emotion recently and you just cannot get rid of it. It just keeps happening there. Then write it down. Write it down on the journal and try to see what triggered it and understand it, and then conditioning your mind on the blessing you have. So what is the antidote that is really helpful? Practice gratitude. Because when you focus on what you have instead of what you not have, you focus on what you can control, you become so powerful. So pick empowering emotions so that you can anchor on that. And how do you anchor? Practice mindfulness. Anchor into yourself. But each of us have that. And it's just that the technique, how do you anchor that so that you can be the best person all the time, right? And so this part at the bottom is the key component of emotional intelligence of your EI house. That is know yourself. What is the story you tell yourself? If you say, oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, I never can be good at this. How many of you can say that? Oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, I never be very good at this. If you're telling yourself that way, guess what? It will happen that way. So never, ever telling yourself that I am not enough. You are enough. Can you say that? I am enough. Can you say that? I am enough. Let's do it. I am enough. Okay, I am enough. You have to say with conviction, I am enough. Yes, I am enough. So stop telling yourself that the limiting belief that you are not enough. You are enough to do whatever that assigned to you come to you. And because of that, you make sure that you know yourself, be the best, believe in yourself first. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else would believe in you? So the first step starts within you, the person inside you. And then how do you know that you be the best? You reflect. And your own emotion, you understand that. You understand the trigger. So that is the first component. The second component is how do you project yourself to other? How do you explain your emotion? Because remember, sometimes you raise your voice, you don't know. Like I did that a lot when I was a teenager. Whenever I didn't get the thing that I wanted, I shout, I raise my voice. I didn't know. So how do you know? Learn to understand the emotion, the reaction of the people around you. If you talk to a group of people and you see the facial expression of everyone, they look like, huh? Then you know something wrong, right? So you have to learn, and that is the skill that you can learn. So how do you learn those things? Pay attention. Pay attention, be mindful. Pay attention to the people you talk to. And remember, you're nonverbal. If you say, oh, I'm your friend, but you do it like this, how do you feel? I'm not friend. I am your friend. So the way that the nonverbal cues speak a lot. So even you say, how are you doing today? I'm fine. How do you interpret that? I'm fine. And you see that a lot too, right? I'm fine. Like your kids, asking your kids, oh, kids, how are your children? I'm fine. So the facial expressions speak a lot. So that is what you project yourself, and be assertive. Be assertive. You know your emotion, how you project to the world. And this is the most important thing. I think this component, you are what you think. How many of you have read the book As the Man Thinketh by James Allen? I would strongly recommend that. It is a book, it's a small book, but it talks all about your mind. And again, if you occupy your mind with all the worries, the negative thought, all the outcomes that is going to be bad. For example, how many of you have some issue that you currently cause you a lot of stress? Can somebody give me some example? Very simple. Anyone? Maybe missing the deadline? How's that? Everybody has deadline, right? So missing the deadline is really create you stress, isn't it? Right? Okay. So missing the deadline, you worry that, oh my God, I'm going to miss the deadline, right? And that thought in your mind, does it mean that you miss the deadline? What is the probability that you will miss the deadline? Maybe 50-50 or maybe 60-40. That's maybe 60% you can miss it. So that is only a possibility. There are two options. You will miss the deadline or you will achieve the goal before the deadline. But your mind is programmed to worry about missing the deadline more. So your thoughts are occupied by this. But you have another choice. Okay, on this one, you're going to meet the deadline, right? What is the chance? 50-50 or maybe 40-60. It's still the chance. So why don't you program your mind to say, okay, I'm going to meet this deadline. Okay, what I need to do to meet this deadline, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I focus on getting this done. Okay, if I don't have enough resource, okay, I get help. But you not worry anymore. You focus on the task you can control, the resource you can control, so that you can move ahead. And guess what? Remember the energy and the emotion. When you think that you're going to miss the deadline, guess what? It affects your energy. And instead of going to the zone number 1, you go to zone number 2, or even back with zone number 3. So you can control that. You tell yourself, and again, it's the story you telling yourself. I am meeting this deadline, and I am going to achieve the goal. The key thing is your thing, your thought. How do you think? Okay? And the way you master it, and practice gratitude. Again, if you have emotion because some of your kids didn't behave, you teach, you spend all the time, all the energy, and they still not listening to you, right? And you got in a point that you're so frustrated. What can you do? Practice gratitude. At least they still alive. There's still some people that lost their children because they got into an accident. Bad things happen. And we're still lucky because they're still alive. And they're still kicking. They still cause you problem. Right? So as you practice gratitude, it affects your emotion. And that is the antidote. You practice emotion, you replace one negative emotion by 3 gratitude. Think about 3 gratitude. And then by doing that, you occupy your mind. Remember, you only have 40 or 50 bits, right? So there is a very effective practice that you can do is that every morning you can do this 1 minute of gratitude. So you put your hand on your heart, okay? You close your eyes and you think about the blessing, the wonderful blessing you have, including being alive and being able to run around. Remember Christopher Reeve, that you cannot, he cannot run, he cannot do anything that you can. So appreciate for only 1 minute. And then the second minute, you can still put it on the heart or you can put it down. But you think about the 3 goals you achieve throughout the day. It can be, okay, my kid will behave well today. Or it can be, I will see my boss today, I will ask for a raise. I got a raise, okay? Things like that. The thing you want for the day, you will see it in your mind that it's achieved, okay, for 1 minute. It can be life-related or work-related, but you see it. You practice seeing it in your mind. And the 3rd minute, you're just sending love. You're sending love to anybody, even the ugliest person in the world that you don't like. You still send love to them, like intentionally sending love to that person. And just try to do that for a week and let me know how it works. Does that make sense? Okay, because that is when you condition your mind every single day. And that is living with intention and attention. And you see, the next component is empathy, because this one, why is yellow? All the 3 blocks here is the inside, the work inside you. So we have to work on ourselves first before we can work with others. This box is yellow. It's just like, this is your house and this is your window. The window you look out to the world, okay? And in the world, you see, practice listening. And everybody, we listen, but sometimes we don't listen well because we're busy thinking. We're busy thinking about the response that we will give, or we're busy doing, and you don't give that attention to the person who talks. And guess what? They pick it up. And how many of you in a meeting that people just keep doing, BlackBerry, doing the text and, I'm hearing, but they're doing this thing. How do you feel? Not listening, right? And I've seen that a lot. Now, you cannot control other people doing that, but you can control yourself. Be attentive. Show the other person your respect by really focus on what they have to say. And sometimes listen to what they not even say. They don't say, but they're verbal when they say, yes, I'm fine. But they look like this. What's the matter? And you ask questions so that you can pull out something. And people want to be appreciated. People want to be attentive. So when you do it that way, you will see people as reciprocate. And in relationship, you need to give before you can receive. How many of you think in the relationship you have like 50-50 or 60-40? What is the right ratio? Any guess? 50-50? I talk to my kid, I'll give him 50. I love him 50%. He loves me back 50%. Is that fair? Life's never fair. I would suggest you do the 100-0. You give 100. And that doesn't make sense, right? How come I give you 100%, I don't have anything back, right? But when you do 100%, that is when you give out love. You conditioning your mind. You don't expect anything in return. You do it with the love inside. And we have that peace inside each of us. Try it. The other person will give you back 100%. But you don't expect that. You do that yourself. But remember, you cannot control the other person. The only person you can control is yourself. Yourself. So it leads to why, and look at the root. The root is the most important one because It controls our mind all the time. How many thoughts you think we have per day? A lot, right? 7. How many of you feel that like your mind is just running like a horse, running like crazy, a lot? Raise your hand. I think everybody, right? So according to the neuroscientists, 80,000 thoughts, 70 to 80,000 thoughts per day. So going through those thoughts, if you are not controlling it, it's controlling you. So remember, your mind is just like a garden. If you don't watch it, the weeds will show up. So living with intention and attention. And so this is some of the strategy. And because of the time constraint, I just would like to go through very fast, but I will have a free webinar. If you're interested in learning how to use Grace to implement EI, sign up with Cindy or Tiffany so that you can get that, okay? But it's talk about practice gratitude, practice respect, accountability, courage, and engagement. It's called Grace. It is a model that I practice every day. It helped me tremendously. When I lost my parents, I nearly lost my husband, and I changed my job. I quit my corporate job to do a nonprofit work. You know, it just, all of this happened, and I use Grace to really be anchor. And you have that inside of each of you. So take a look at it. So this is my personal story. And this was taken at the hospital. So my husband just got out of the hospital he stayed in the hospital for 10 days because of sepsis. So he just got out of hospital for 7 days. And I was about to go to a board meeting in DC. Like my life was so much in my plate at the time. I work on my dissertation. I have a 50-hour work week at the MD Anderson Cancer Center as a portfolio manager of IT. And then I serve on 2 nonprofit boards. So I'm crazy. I'm running everything, you know, around. And guess what? We got into a car accident. And this one, I was taken in the hospital by a different ambulance, and my husband is in a different ambulance. So, but when they take picture, I just try to smile, right? And you can see that I try to smile, but it's so excruciating pain. So at the time, I couldn't smile more. But look at my husband. He looks like he's okay. Everything is calm. But he actually got a more severe crack in his chest than me. The pain he get much worse than me. And you see how he could do that? Because he's one of the person that can practice emotional intelligence to his best. So look at him. You can't tell that he's smiling with his eyes, right? And his name is Dr. Nong, you know, and it can be a favor, but he's actually my hero. That's why I quit my job to support him in the Institute for Civic Education in Vietnam, because it has so much. And again, practice Grace and practice emotional intelligence. You have so much you can do. So these are some of the strategies to boost your EI. Remember the morning routine, okay? The morning routine, the 3 minutes. Laughing. How many people can laugh? Everybody can laugh, right? So in the morning, if you laugh, when you laugh, there's 3 chemicals that can add you the serotonin, the endorphin, and the dopamine. All of those are really boost your mood. So what I did every morning is I laugh for 1 minute. I just laugh out, laugh out of the belly. We run out of time. Otherwise, I could make you to do a laughing exercise. It's really fun. And random act of kindness, meditation. How many of you meditate? I was so impressed that Google has a meditation room in every building. That is awesome, because that is what you need to keep your mind calm and focus on the best you can be. Complete your life goals. Remember that 4 quadrant? Try it, do it. And you can email me if you want some advices. Build relationships with Grace, do journal gratitude. And again, ask your loved ones, how are you doing, to increase your awareness? Asking the people you interact the most, how am I doing? How do you see myself acting and reacting with you? Because from your loved one that's willing to give you the feedback, from that you can grow, okay? And everybody can grow. It's nothing bad. So in conclusion, lead life with what? Intention and attention. If you forget everything I said in the past hour, remember those 2. Live with intention, and you have power to set that intention with attention, and love yourself. You are enough. Love yourself, believe in yourself, and love others, and laugh. Becomes a happiness broadcaster. There is a book by Michelle Gillen called Broadcasting Happiness that I would strongly recommend. It's in the slide reference that you can take. It's wonderful. She has tons of good tips to allow you to broadcast happiness. And remember, connect your brain, your intelligence, your head with what? Your heart. And that is where you can be the best. And remember, you only have 40 and 50 bits out of 11 million bits. Use it wisely, and the choice is yours. I want to end this talk with a statement from my mentor. He's actually my spiritual teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the thing you look at change. And remember, any problem in this world, it is not a problem. We fix our thinking, the problem goes away. Okay? So my best wishes to all of you. And I hope that in the past hour, I give you some techniques, some tips. But remember, emotions is real. And you acknowledge it. You don't try to suppress it. You acknowledge when you have a negative emotion. But remember, you acknowledge it, but you don't stay there. Because when you stay there, you go to, remember, the quadrant. You don't want to stay there. You replace it by 3 more positive emotions. By what? Gratitude. Practice gratitude. Think about the blessing you have. Focus on the good thing. Focus on what you have. Focus on what you can do. And focus. Don't let the weather, the traffic controlling you. You can control yourself. So be your best. Okay? Thank you. And if you're interested in knowing more, sign up for the webinar on grace. The best strategy to live a happy life. I will have that hopefully by November. So check it out and sign up. And I'm a coach, so you can check out my coaching blog, my email, and my Facebook profile. Okay? Good luck on your journey of life. I know that each of you, if you're here in Google or you're not here in Google, you're here for a reason. We spent the last hour with intention and attention. So best wishes to all of you.
Thank you so much, Anhlan. I hope you all enjoyed the VGN speaker series. And if anyone wants to stay connected with Anhlan, feel free to reach out to Cindy or I. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you.